There's a certain power in silence that most people don't understand. See, when someone disrespects you, the world teaches you to react, to clap back, to defend yourself, to make sure they know exactly who they're messing with. But what if I told you that silence is sometimes the loudest response you could ever give? What if I told you that holding your peace is not weakness, but wisdom? Some people think staying quiet means you're afraid. They think it means you don't have the words, the strength, or the confidence to stand up for yourself. But let me tell you, true strength isn't in how loud you speak, but in how well you control yourself. Anybody can react. Anybody can get caught up in the emotions of the moment, but it takes real discipline, real power, real confidence to stand still when everything in you wants to fight back. When you don't respond to disrespect, you shift the weight of accountability. You let people reveal who they really are without your interference. You take back control of your emotions, your energy, and your peace. And in that silence, you become untouchable. Silence speaks louder than words, especially in moments of disrespect. When someone disrespects you, the natural instinct is to react, to defend yourself, to correct them, to match their energy with the same level of intensity. But what if I told you that your silence holds more power than any words you could ever say? What if I told you that the loudest statement you can make is choosing not to respond at all? Disrespect has a way of drawing you into unnecessary battles. It triggers emotions, stirs up frustration, and demands a reaction. But reacting in the heat of the moment rarely brings resolution. Instead, it often leads to more chaos, more hurt, and more misunderstanding. People who disrespect you are not looking for clarity. But when you remain silent, you refuse to give them that power. You refuse to step into a war that was never meant for you. Silence is not weakness. It is not surrender. It is not an admission of guilt or an acceptance of mistreatment. Silence is wisdom. It is discernment. It is the ability to recognize when a response is necessary and when it will only add fuel to a fire that should have never been lit in the first place. Some people don't deserve access to your words. They don't deserve to hear your defense or explanation, because the truth is, some minds are already made up about you, and no amount of talking will change that. Silence exposes motives. When you refuse to react, people reveal who they really are. They either realize their mistake and correct themselves, or they continue to push, trying to get a rise out of you. Either way, their actions speak louder than anything you could ever say. When you step back and allow people to show you who they truly are, you gain the upper hand. You no longer waste time and energy on those who do not deserve it. You no longer invest in relationships that are built on disrespect and dishonor. Your silence also protects your peace. Every time you engage in an argument, every time you try to prove yourself to someone who has already disrespected you, you give away a piece of your peace. And peace is too valuable to be sacrificed for the sake of proving a point. There is something powerful about being unbothered, about refusing to let someone else's words shake you. That level of confidence is intimidating. That level of assurance is unshakable. The power of silence is also evident in how it allows you to move strategically. When people disrespect you, they expect you to react emotionally. They expect you to lose control, to say things you will regret, to act in a way that justifies their behavior toward you. But when you remain quiet, you take away their ability to manipulate the situation. You show them that their words have no effect on you, that their actions cannot dictate your response. Instead of being controlled by the moment, you stay in control of yourself. And in doing so, you force them to deal with their own actions rather than shifting the blame onto you. Silence also leaves room for God to work. When you step back, you allow Him to step in. You allow Him to fight the battles that were never meant for you to fight. You allow Him to handle situations in ways that you never could. There are some things that don't need your words, they need God's intervention. And sometimes the best way to invite His presence into a situation is to stay quiet and let Him move. There is power in silence. There is strength in not reacting. There is wisdom in knowing when to speak and when to be still. When someone disrespects you, remember that not every battle requires your participation. Not every word deserves a response, and not every insult needs an answer. True power is found in restraint. True confidence is displayed in self-control. And true wisdom is knowing that sometimes silence speaks louder than words ever could. Protecting your peace is one of the most important things you can do for yourself, especially when faced with disrespect. When someone disrespects you, their goal is often to provoke a reaction, to pull you into negativity, or to make you feel small. If you allow yourself to be drawn into that energy, you end up sacrificing your own peace in exchange for proving a point that doesn't need to be proven. Engaging with disrespect, whether through arguments, retaliation, or even dwelling on the situation mentally, disturbs your emotional and spiritual well-being. And the reality is, your peace is far more valuable than their opinion. When you protect your peace, you make a conscious decision to prioritize your mental and emotional health over temporary conflicts. Not every battle is worth fighting, and not every insult requires your attention. There will always be people who misunderstand you, disrespect you, or speak negatively about you. But responding to them does not change who they are. It only disrupts who you are. If you allow yourself to get caught up in every instance of disrespect, you will constantly find yourself in turmoil, constantly explaining yourself, constantly defending your worth. And that is exhausting. Choosing silence in the face of disrespect is not about ignoring the issue or pretending it didn't happen. It is about recognizing that your response does not change the truth. Some people will believe what they want to believe. Some people will project their insecurities onto you no matter what you say. Trying to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you is like trying to convince the wind to stop blowing. It will never work, and in the process, you will only lose your own sense of calm. There is a deep power in being unbothered. When you protect your peace, you show that you are not easily shaken. You show that you are in control of yourself rather than being controlled by the emotions or actions of others. People will notice when you refuse to react. They will see that their words do not have the power they thought they did. They will realize that no matter what they say or do, they cannot disturb your spirit. And that realization alone can be more powerful than any response you could ever give. Protecting your peace also allows you to maintain focus on what truly matters. Every time you engage with disrespect, you take your attention away from your goals, your purpose, and your growth. You waste energy on people who do not deserve it, instead of investing that energy into the things that actually bring you joy and fulfillment. Think about how much time is lost dwelling on an argument, replaying a disrespectful encounter in your mind, or crafting the perfect response to prove someone wrong. Now imagine what could happen if that same time and energy were poured into your dreams, your healing, and your future. When you protect your peace, you reclaim that power. Disrespect can be painful, especially when it comes from people you care about. It can be tempting to defend yourself, to make them see your worth, to correct the narrative. But true peace comes when you realize that their actions are a reflection of them, not of you. When you know who you are, when you are secure in yourself, you do not need validation from others. You do not need to win every argument or prove every point. Your character will speak for itself. The truth will reveal itself in time, and the people who matter will see it without you having to force them to. There is also a spiritual element to protecting your peace. When you are constantly engaging in conflict, constantly reacting, constantly trying to fight every battle that comes your way, you leave no room for God to work. But when you step back, when you stay quiet, when you let go of the need to control the situation, you create space for divine intervention. Some battles are not meant for you to fight. Some situations are best handled by a power greater than you. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply be still and trust that everything will fall into place exactly as it should. Letting God handle it requires trust, patience, and a deep understanding that some battles are not meant for you to fight. When someone disrespects you, the natural response is to defend yourself, to correct them, to make them understand who they are dealing with. But the truth is, not every situation requires your response. Some moments call for silence, not because you are weak, but because you recognize that the fight is not yours. It belongs to God. It is easy to get caught up in the emotions of the moment. Disrespect has a way of making you feel like you have to react immediately, like you have to set the record straight before things get out of hand. But when you truly trust God, you understand that He sees everything. He knows the truth, and He is more than capable of handling the situation in a way that is far better than anything you could do on your own. Letting God handle it does not mean ignoring the pain or pretending that the disrespect did not happen. It means surrendering the need for control and trusting that justice will be served in His time and His way. There is something powerful about stepping back and allowing God to work. When you choose not to retaliate, not to argue, not to match someone's disrespect with more negativity, you are making room for divine intervention. God is not limited by human emotions. He is not driven by ego or the need to prove a point. He moves with wisdom, purpose, and perfect timing. When you stay quiet and trust Him, you are saying, God, I know you see this. I know you will take care of it. I don't have to waste my energy because I trust that you will handle what I cannot. The problem with taking matters into your own hands is that it often leads to regret. When you react out of anger or frustration, you might say things you don't mean, act in ways that do not reflect who you truly are, or create more conflict than resolution. But when you let God handle it, you can walk away with peace, knowing that you did not lower yourself to the level of those who disrespected you. You did not allow their words or actions to dictate your response. Instead, you operated from a place of wisdom, knowing that your energy is too valuable to be wasted on meaningless battles. Letting God handle it also allows you to grow. Every time you choose silence over reaction, trust over control, and faith over frustration, you are strengthening your character. You are learning to rely on something greater than yourself, to believe that things will work out, even if you do not see the resolution immediately. Growth happens when you resist the urge to fight battles that are beneath you. Strength is built when you learn to walk away from unnecessary conflict, knowing that your worth is not defined by how well you can defend yourself against disrespect. There are times when disrespect is intentional, meant to provoke you, to bring you down to someone else's level. But there is also power in refusing to give in to that trap. When you choose to be still and let God handle it, you are showing that you are above the situation. You are showing that your peace, your purpose, and your future are too important to be compromised by a temporary moment of disrespect. People who thrive on negativity will try to pull you into their chaos, but when you trust God, you understand that their words have no power over you. God's justice is different from human justice. He sees the full picture, the hearts and intentions of every person involved. What might seem unfair in the moment will make sense in time. When you trust Him to handle the situation, you release yourself from the burden of trying to make things right on your own. You allow Him to work things out in ways that you could not have imagined. Sometimes that means He will elevate you while those who disrespected you remain stuck in their ways. Other times it means that He will reveal the truth without you ever having to say a word. Either way, when you step back and let God handle it, you are freeing yourself from unnecessary stress, conflict, and distractions that do not serve your purpose. Silence exposes motives in ways that words never could. When someone disrespects you, they often expect an immediate reaction. They want you to become defensive, to explain yourself, to get caught up in the emotion of the moment. But when you choose to stay quiet, instead of reacting, you force their true intentions to surface. Your silence removes the distraction of your response, leaving only their actions to be examined. People reveal who they really are when they don't get the reaction they are expecting. If someone disrespects you and you don't respond, watch how they act. Do they escalate the situation, trying harder to provoke you? Do they backtrack, realizing they can't manipulate you? Or do they expose their insecurity, revealing that their disrespect was never about you in the first place? When you stay quiet, you allow them to show their true colors. Their words and actions are no longer clouded by your response. They stand alone, fully visible for what they are. Sometimes people disrespect you not because they believe what they are saying, but because they want to see how much control they have over you. They want to test your patience, to make you question yourself, to push you to a place where you lose control. But when you stay quiet, you take away their power. You deny them the satisfaction of knowing they got to you. You leave them wondering why their words didn't shake you, why their actions didn't pull you into their drama. That silence speaks volumes. It says, I see what you're doing, and I refuse to play your game. Your silence forces people to sit with their own actions. When you don't engage, when you don't defend yourself, when you don't return disrespect with more words, the only thing left in the air is what they said or did. That kind of exposure is powerful. It leaves them to deal with the weight of their own behavior without the distraction of your response. Some people will realize their mistake and correct themselves. Others will continue to show you exactly who they are. Either way, you get clarity without wasting your time or energy. There is wisdom in letting people talk while you observe. When you are quiet, you become a student of human behavior. You begin to see patterns, to notice things you might have missed if you were too busy reacting. You realize that some people speak from pain, from insecurity, from jealousy. Their disrespect is often a reflection of their own struggles rather than a true statement about who you are. But if you react too quickly, you might miss that revelation. You might get so caught up in defending yourself that you fail to see the real reason behind their actions. Silence gives you the space to see beyond the surface, to understand motives rather than just words. There is a different kind of strength in choosing not to respond. The world teaches that strength is found in fighting back, in proving people wrong, and standing your ground through words. But true strength is often found in restraint. It takes more power to hold back than to lash out. It takes confidence to know that you don't need to explain yourself to everyone who disrespects you. It takes wisdom to recognize when someone's words are not worth your energy. Silence also shifts the focus from your reaction to their behavior. When you engage, people will judge both what was said to you and how you responded. But when you stay quiet, there is only one thing left to evaluate: the actions of the person who disrespected you. That silence puts all the attention on them. It highlights their choices, their words, their character. And in many cases, that kind of exposure is more powerful than any argument you could have given. Not every situation requires a response. Not every insult deserves an answer. Sometimes the best way to handle disrespect is to let it hang in the air without resistance, without argument, without justification. That silence creates space for the truth to reveal itself, for people to show their real intentions, for motives to be exposed without interference. It gives you clarity, it protects your peace, and it removes you from battles that were never meant to be yours in the first place. Walking away is not a sign of weakness. It is a demonstration of strength, wisdom, and self-control. When faced with disrespect, the immediate instinct is often to stand your ground, to argue, to make the other person understand that you will not tolerate being treated that way. But the truth is, not every battle is worth fighting. Walking away does not mean you are giving up or letting them win. It means you value yourself too much to be drawn into unnecessary conflict. It means you understand that your energy is too valuable to waste on people who do not respect you. There is a difference between standing up for yourself and allowing yourself to be dragged into a situation that serves no purpose. Some people are not looking for a resolution. They are looking for a reaction. They disrespect you not because they have a valid point, but because they want to see how much control they have over you. When you engage with them, you feed into their need for attention, for power, for validation. But when you walk away, you take that power away from them. You make it clear that you will not entertain negativity, that you will not lower yourself to their level. Walking away is about setting boundaries. It is about knowing when a conversation has crossed the line from being productive to being toxic. Some people will argue with no intention of understanding you. They will twist your words, manipulate the situation, and do whatever they can to make you feel small, but you do not have to participate in that. You have the right to remove yourself from spaces where you are not respected. You have the right to walk away from conversations that are designed to hurt you rather than build you. One of the hardest things to accept is that not everyone deserves an explanation. You do not owe people your time, your words, or your energy just because they demand it. Some people will push and push, hoping that you will break, hoping that they can get under your skin. But when you walk away, you are showing them that their words have no power over you. You are showing them that your peace is more important than proving a point. It takes strength to resist the urge to react. It takes confidence to know that you do not need to engage to prove your worth. People who are truly secure in themselves do not need to argue with every person who disrespects them. They do not need to explain themselves to people who have already made up their minds. They do not need to fight battles that are beneath them. Walking away is not about avoiding conflict. It is about choosing which conflicts are worth your time. Some people will see your silence and your decision to walk away as a weakness. They will say you are running from the situation, that you are afraid to stand up for yourself. But the truth is, it takes far more strength to leave than to stay. It takes wisdom to recognize when a situation is not worth your energy. It takes confidence to know that you do not need to prove yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you.